Hi, I'm Steve Amos, and this is 34 Stories. A squat grey building of only 34 stories. We enter. 1. A couple sit at opposite ends of their sofa in the late afternoon sunlight. What's pansexuality? She asks, looking up from her magazine. Dunno, he mutters, eyes on the TV. Google it. She sighs. She doesn't want to Google it. She wants them to have a conversation about pansexuality. She goes over to the window and looks out onto the street. It's hard to broaden your horizons when you're stuck in the first story. 2. Boris, cries Elspeth. Walkies. Boris the cockapoo jumps from the sofa and bounds towards the front door. We're lucky, thinks Elspeth, to be on the second floor, where it's easy to get in and out of the building. She couldn't imagine having a dog if she lived higher up. She clips on Boris's lead and they head for the park. 3. Rob is a man of regular habits. Breakfast every morning at 8 a.m, a poo every morning at 8:30. But for several days now, the poo hasn't come, and Rob's starting to feel rather bloated. He worries that he might have to see a doctor who might find something wrong. 4. Jess cuddles Ellie in the big comfy bed. She opens her eyes and sees a shaft of sunlight coming in through the blinds. When the sunlight hits the chair, it will be time to go. Dan's making dinner, and he likes her company while he cooks. Ellie senses that Jess is awake. Don't go, she says. 5 more minutes. Ellie loves these afternoons with Jess. She wonders if two people have ever been so happy together. 5. The couch potatoes sit in front of the TV, eating potato chips and passing judgment on the world. God, she's fat. He's an ugly fucker. Look at the ass on that. They watch, munch and judge all day long. 6. The wheels on the bus have been going round and round all day long because Jessica just won't sleep. Again, Mummy, she laughs. Again. So Mummy sings it again because that's what mummies have to do. Mummy feels weary enough to sleep for 1,000 years, although just 10 minutes would be good. But there's no sign of that happening anytime soon. Again, Mummy, again. 7. Dave loves rap, especially Stormzy. Like Dave, Stormzy grew up on the streets and he tells it how it is. Dave listens to Stormzy and listens loud, but always on Bayer dynamic headphones because they're the best you can get. Dave always uses headphones because he wants to be a good neighbour, and not everyone wants to listen to rap at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's a woman downstairs with a kid, for God's sake. The least he can do is allow her a decent night's sleep. You've got to show a bit of consideration in this world. Also, it blocks out the noise from upstairs. 8. Shall I call them? Asks Sam. Jodie nods. See if they're up for it. Sam grins. As I remember, they were up for pretty much anything, especially Robbie. Yeah, Jerry seemed to hold back a bit more. I'll call Robbie. I loved it when we were all licking each other. Sam looks disappointedly at the phone. No reply. Try again. 9. She hates her fucking life in this fucking building. She tries to distract herself by reading, but it's hard, especially when the couple downstairs have people in for noisy all-night sex sessions. She puts down her book and picks up her phone. Maybe he can get her something that'll make her feel better. 10. Ethelred, cries Emma, will you please get ready? I'll be there in a minute. She sighs and sits down. It always takes him ages to leave the flat. 11. Pete sits in front of his laptop, trousers around his ankles. Have you been a good boy? Asks the girl on the screen. Yes, he replies weakly. I don't think so, she says, and I only take my panties off for good boys. I have been. Really? Hmm. All right then. She slowly pulls down her panties, all the time staring at him through her webcam. It's like she can see him, but he's glad that she can't. Is that nice? Yes. His voice is getting squeakier and squeakier. Would you like me to touch myself? Here. She inserts her finger into her vagina. Do you wish that you could touch me here? He swallows. Yes. He's masturbating hard now as he watches her touching herself. He wonders where she lives. Russia, judging by her accent. He comes, groans, and slams the laptop shut. 12. Julio's not here. Not officially, anyway. He ran when he got across the border, and the authorities have never caught up with him. He rents the apartment from the guy who lives on the 26th floor. He pays the rent by selling TV receivers, which he can use to get channels from all over the world subscription-free. He sold quite a few to people who live in this building. He does okay. Still gets nervous when the doorbell rings, though. 13. She takes the pizzas from the fridge and stares at the boxes. How could she have been so stupid? She meant to buy deep pan pepperonis, but she picked up thin and crispy by mistake. Doug hates thin and crispy pizzas. They'll be hell to pay when he gets home. Her hands shake as she puts them into the oven. 14. Ahmed and Yahindra are fighting over the TV again. She loves Bollywood movies, but he always comes home and puts the cricket on, even when she's in the middle of watching something. It isn't fair. When he goes to the bathroom, she tunes back into her movie, then hides the remote under the couch. She giggles. Let's see what he does now. 15. What do? I go to the liquor store, buy a few beers, then come back and watch reruns of old football games. What's the point of life if you don't enjoy yourself, eh? 16. Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub. The boys in number 16 love bath night. 17. Robbie scowls at the ringing phone. Shit, it's them. Don't answer, hisses Cherry. What should I do? Ignore it. Otherwise they'll talk us into going down there. I hate those games they make us play, don't you? I didn't like being blindfolded. I couldn't tell if I was going down on you or Jodie. Can't we just stay in tonight? Yeah, I'll ignore it. Let's open a bottle of wine and watch Singing in the Rain. Yeah, let's do that. Robbie's phone stops ringing. A few seconds later, it starts again. 18. Canute sits in his bath, trying to push back the water. Go back, he cries. Go back! Still the water sloshes around his buttocks. Tomorrow, he mutters, as he climbs out and reaches for his towel. Tomorrow, I will succeed. 19. There are no words for the horrors of the 19th story. Let's avert our eyes and hurry on up. 20. His phone rings. Yeah? Silence. Just the sound of breathing. He waits. Can you get me some stuff? What do you want? Something to make me feel better. I need you to be specific. Skunk, hash, weed, coke, crack? Silence again. He can hear her thinking. Soma. Can you get me some Soma? 21. It seems weird having a sex dungeon on the 21st floor, but there you go. Astrid's hung heavy crimson drapes over the windows and lights the room with candles, so it creates the right ambience. Right now, she's giving Anthony such a good slapping that he doesn't know where he is. He moans at the ecstatic combination of pleasure and pain, and she slaps him again with a leather strap. 22. Natalia sits in front of her webcam. Have you been a good boy? She asks. Yes, he replies weakly. He's irregular, so she needs to be nice. I don't think so, she says, and I only take my panties off for good boys. I have been, really? All right then. She slowly pulls down her pants, all the time staring at the webcam. Is that nice? Yes. His voice is so squeaky that she almost laughs. Would you like me to touch myself? Here. She inserts her finger into her vagina. Do you wish that you could touch me here? He pauses and swallows before answering. Yes. She hears him breathing faster and faster, then suddenly stop, and the connection goes dead. She pulls up her pants and checks the time. Soon she'll be able to go downstairs for a glass of wine with Astrid and hear about her day in the sex dungeon. 23. He stands at the window and looks wistfully out across the city. The woman he loves is thousands of miles away with her husband. He fears that he may never see her again. 24. She lies on her bed with a fever, fearful that she has the virus. Her head is pounding. She can't stop coughing, and her temperature feels way over 100 degrees. She has no energy to do anything except stare at the stain on the ceiling. She's sure it's getting bigger. When she climbed up to look, before the fever started, it felt damp and smelled disgusting. The only good thing about this is that she's lost her sense of smell. 25. Mick knows that getting the dog was a bad idea, but he couldn't resist the old stray's mongrel eyes. Love me, they said, and I will love you back. He named the dog Winston. But now Mick's old and housebound and can't take Winston out. Mick gets food delivered each week but doesn't order dog food because Winston's not meant to be here. Instead, he cooks him liver and kidneys and, occasionally, steak. Winston wolfs it all down, then goes to his own room to shit and piss. He's a good dog, but Mick hates to think what it must be like in there. 26. Gareth owns a few apartments in this building. It's like his own little empire, really. There's the guy down on the 12th floor, probably an illegal immigrant, but who cares, as long as he pays the rent. He has a different kind of arrangement with the girl in number 22. He fucks her when he wants, but by and large he just takes a percentage of her earnings. And if either of them steps out of line, he can just turn them in. He's done well. Got his life just how he wants it. 27. Dan's cooking dinner for Jess. The breeze blows in through the open window and he sings to himself, Happy by Pharrell Williams. She'll be home soon, and she'll sit in the kitchen to chat and have a glass of wine while he prepares the meal. He loves these evenings when it's just the two of them. He wonders if two people have ever been so happy together. 28. Joseph's lived quietly since Ethel died. In the mornings, he puts on a collar and tie, then goes shopping. He gets a tin of soup for lunch, which he has while he watches the news. It pains him to see the state of the world, but it's important to keep up with things. He dozes off and wakes as the afternoon sunlight creeps across the floor. He makes a cup of tea and gets out the photograph albums. It's his favourite part of the day, looking back at the pictures of their life together. Ethel was beautiful when she was young, and when he looks at the photos, a smile still lights up the room. He looks back at their holidays in Crete, Corfu, and Kefalonia. Then the music starts. Joe gets the broom and bangs on the ceiling, but it doesn't make any difference. It never does. The man upstairs stomps around singing like he's having a party all by himself. 29. Nick gets in and heads straight for the record player. He's been waiting for this moment all day. He takes the 7-inch single from its sleeve, puts it on the rotating turntable. then carefully places the stylus in the groove. It crackles for a moment, then starts. First the drums, then the guitars, then Mick. Nick sings along in full Mick Jagger mode. He struts and swaggers across the living room, wiggling his hips as he goes. He has to adapt the lyrics slightly. The 99th floor becomes the 29th floor. But it fits well enough. He's up here in splendid isolation, and you can't hang around because two's a crowd. Not on my cloud, baby. 30. She knows what time it is because the music starts downstairs. She knows not to schedule clients for this time because therapy doesn't really work to a soundtrack of 60s R&B. Instead, she checks her email. There's one just in from someone who describes her partner as a couch potato who just grunts when she tries to talk to him. Today, she tried to prompt a response by asking him about pansexuality, but he just told her to Google it. She sighs. What lonely lives we all lead. And the people with partners seem just as lonely as the ones who live on their own. God, he sings loudly. She wishes he'd get off of her cloud. How she hates the rolling fucking stones. 31. He stands at the window and stares into the world outside. How many roads must a man walk down? And if the streets have no names, then how do you count them? There are songs he needs to get out of his head. 32. Mummy, cries Danny, Roland bit me. She sees the mark on Danny's arm. Roland, did you do this? Roland starts crying. Danny was pulling my hair. She sighs. It's like this all day, every day. Sometimes, when they escape from the building, she sees the young woman on the 7th floor with her little girl. She wishes that she had girls. 33. Story 33 is a gym which is open to all the building's residents. Samantha sits on an exercise bike overlooking the city and pedals hard while listening to grime. Maybe one day she'll leave the building and cycle around the streets, but not today. Definitely not today. She feels panic at this thought and pedals harder to alleviate it. Samantha hasn't left this building for 7 years. 34. We climb the fire escape to the roof and look down on the toy town city. It's like watching a colony of ants, but these sophisticated ants live in buildings, travel in vehicles, and lead individual lives. We look across the city until it fades into a distant haze. South, southwest, south, southeast, east.